News Tower is a game where you manage a newspaper, hire reporters, send them out to research stories while avoiding the wrath of the mafia and other powerful forces. To obtain 100% completion, we must turn everyone in New York City into a loyal subscriber of our newspaper. So let's turn this map from white to green. This is 100% of News Tower. I started by discovering that we had inherited a failing newspaper that owed debts to some totally normal businessman. For some unrelated reason, all the newspaper equipment was broken. I wonder how that could have happened. I also learned that at the start of the chain of story writing is the telegrapher at the telegraphing station. Each week, the telegraphers have a number of stories to research, shown in the top left of the globe here. The news he just received is that of a Wall Street market crash, and now I need to send my reporter out to have feet on the ground at the Wall Street Bank where the story is breaking. The Wall Street stock crash because it's October in 1929, Black Monday. There are 6 types of stories overall: crime, sports, society, entertainment, politics, and economy. Dennis, our first reporter, can report on crime, society, and economy stories, so we're sending him off to report on the market crash. After a few hours, he has his story, and it now needs to be typeset and assembled so it can be ready to print for the Sunday paper. We still, however, have another story that we need to report on before we are ready to design our first newspaper. There's a crime story. Yeah, let's send you there. Now that we've finished production on all stories for this week, we are ready to design the newspaper and decide what we want to publish. Well, it's a very small Bertha. On each page of the newspaper, we can run 3 different stories, and to start with, we only have 1 page. That makes this week's decision of what to publish very easy, as we only have 3 stories to choose from, and can print all of them. It turns out, however, that the Mafia are not very happy with us, and they've returned to trash our printer. Rest in peace, small Bertha. You will be missed. We now need to hire a cleaner to clean up the mess they've made. You're both the same. Let's put the woman in charge of cleaning. Is that sexist if I do that? Maybe. As our employees work, they will also produce trash, and buying some trash cans that the cleaner can empty will ensure their comfort isn't damaged. Low-condition employees cause negative tags such as sloppy reporting or production to appear on stories, driving away readership. The silver lining to small Bertha's destruction is that she was old and we needed to replace her anyway. Her destruction just provides a convenient excuse. Unfortunately, we cannot fit the shiny new press on the current floor as it's much larger than the press we used to have. This means that we need to build a new floor, and to connect to the new floor, we also have to build some stairs. Big Bertha is, unlike Small Bertha, upgradable, so when we have unlocked it, we can build some new modules to add more pages to our newspaper. Starting this week, we receive stories that have multiple story files. While each story file has to be reported and produced individually, the overall story only takes up 1 slot in the newspaper, making it more valuable to print. As this story requires someone to report on politics, we now have to hire another reporter. With 2 reporters, we also need another telegrapher, as until each story is finished, the telegrapher needs to remain in contact with sources on the ground. At the end of the week, we have to design our newspaper again. This time, we have a story that benefits from being placed above the fold and gaining the 3 times multiplier. We also have a second politics story that matches with our first, giving us a bonus for that page. With the better stories and design of our newspaper, we sell 22,500 papers, 10,000 more than the previous. As we go on, we will also start to see silver and eventually gold tags instead of just the standard bronze, and these will also attract more readers, with 1 silver tag being worth 2 bronze, and 1 gold tag being worth 2 silver. Every match we make is also worth 1 bronze tag, but the matches are not impacted by the above the fold multiplier, while the story tags are, incentivizing us to report on a single topic per page. At the end of the week, we also get to choose the first district to target. Each district has a number of potential subscribers who want to see specific tags in the newspaper. To 100% the game, we need every potential subscriber to be loyal to us. Each district also leads to other districts and special buildings, allowing us to unlock more items or to work with factions who can give us missions to complete for various rewards. I decided that the best course of action is to start hitting for the Mafia faction, as they're the ones who keep destroying my equipment. To win over the district this week, we need to print stories with the crime tag and the sports tag. However, it's not the end of the world if we can't do that, as we still unlock the buildings and the districts behind it regardless, and we can always try and win over the subscribers again next week. Our new printer as well as our telegrapher require more paper to work, and while we can buy some, I don't want to have to manually move each box where it needs to go. Therefore, we need to hire a resupply worker who will move the boxes around. All of our employees also have needs. They need to be comfortable, they need to have food, and they need to be able to go to the bathroom. We already got started on ensuring they were comfortable when we hired our cleaner, but now we also buy some plants and install some clocks so the workplace is more friendly. We also ensure that their hunger need is dealt with by installing a water cooler, and finally we create a bathroom where the printer used to be by placing a toilet there. The toilet occasionally has to be cleaned, so we also have to hire a washer to ensure that the people can use it when necessary. Every other object people use in the office, from desks to water coolers, also break down occasionally, so we also hire a repairman to ensure no one is delayed through mechanical issues. At the end of our third week running the newspaper, we've completed the district objectives and earned 2,000 subscribers for our efforts. That was much easier than earning YouTube subscribers. I streamed this entire playthrough on YouTube, so if you're interested in seeing other games I play, be sure to catch my streams by subscribing. By completing the week, we also earn access to the Mafia faction, and we can start completing missions for them for extra rewards. Oh, that's actually really good. That's more than worth it. Oh, absolutely, I'm becoming a Mafia. I'm absolutely going to be in the pocket of the map. As we complete missions, we will also increase our reputation with them, giving us access to missions that are more difficult, but also more lucrative. Later on, we can also gain access to the Mayor and High Society. Our first mission is to not print any political stories next week, and in exchange, we will get some money and some influence. We also earned some influence for completing the district and ensuring all potential subscribers there subscribed to us. We can spend influence in other buildings on the map to buy upgrades and new items. I now want to head to the Mayor's office to unlock more potential missions. However, at this point, I don't know that I don't have to complete the district to unlock the buildings behind it, and the district on the path to the Mayor's office requires printing a politics story to complete, which is not possible with the mission I have now. We've now completed the tutorial, and as a reward, we unlock the second page module, and we remodeled the building slightly to fit it in. We can now print 6 stories each week. Completing the district mission unlocks the sports stadium, giving us access to objects that provide bonuses for sports reporting and a few items to improve comfort. Each additional level of bonus, or experience level, reduces the time needed to complete a task by 8% for a maximum of 10 levels or 80% reduction in time. Needless to say, we build another floor this week and remodel the building to add the sports board and add some more typesetters and assemblers, as in the previous week we did not complete the production of all stories by the end of the week. At the end of this week, we also unlock the courthouse. However, I don't have the influence to buy anything, and I've not come across lawsuits yet, so I don't see the reason to hire any lawyers. Next week, I hire another reporter, as I've realized that the issue I'm having in not finishing stories is not one of production, but instead of reporting. And by the end of the week, I'm proven correct, as we finish all but one story and are able to sell a record amount of papers. In the middle of the next month, we suddenly have to deal with our first breaking news story, an insolent Milwaukee murder that occurred right on the steps of the courthouse. This is a story that's available for a short period of time to report on, and if we do, it doubles the value of stories that are in the same category as the breaking news story, as people want to hear more of those stories. In this case, it doubles the value of the crime tag, effectively making each crime tag silver for the week. Breaking news is random, but it happens approximately once every 2 or 3 weeks, so while you can't rely on it to happen, it's quite common. Unfortunately, we were not able to report on the breaking news in time, but to keep up with the volume of news, we hire our third telegrapher. To be able to hire more telegraphers in the future, we have to unlock the radio tower building. Conveniently, this building is also next to the industrial city harbor, where we can unlock more page modules. I therefore decide to head in that direction and select the district of Bayonne this week as it leads towards them. The following week is very uneventful. We complete our missions and earn the loyalty of the people of Bayonne, and I continue my previous plan of heading to the radio tower by selecting the district of Port Richmond. The mayor has also given us a goal to sell 86,000 newspapers as a mission, and to try and complete this mission, I hire some more reporters to try and get all the news done as soon as possible, so it's ready for the end of the week. And conveniently, we also get a political breaking news story. We end up smashing the goal of 86,000 by over 30,000 and end up selling 118,000 newspapers in total. On the way to the radio tower and harbour, we pass by the firehouse, giving us access to the society boosting equipment, similar to what was available in the stadium. This week I select the district of Tompkinsville to continue to head to our goal. With the massive amount of papers we sold the previous week, I now have enough money to buy the 4th floor of the building, and continuing on in our previous design, I move the printer to the top floor, and I then move the reporters to the 3rd floor and use the extra space to hire another assembler, and move all the assemblers to the 2nd floor while keeping the typesetters on the 1st floor. Reporters can't go out to report on stories until they've delivered the previous story to the typesetters, so by having the typesetters on the 1st floor, my reporters can turn around very quickly and get out reporting as soon as possible. This week we come across a story that gives us a poster that benefits society reporters. Random briefcases like this are another way to unlock new items other than through influence. While we weren't able to complete the district this week, we did unlock both the radio tower and the industry city harbour, but I ended up spending my influence on mostly bonus equipment rather than on telegraphers. I also ended up spending some influence buying the 3rd page module. I end up forgetting to choose a new district, so we continue to complete Tompkinsville. I end up selecting Central Park as the district to focus on, as that directly leads to both the ad agency building, which allows us to unlock advertising, and Columbia University, allowing us to unlock economic reporting bonuses. We add the 3rd page module to the printer, giving us a total of 9 stories each week we can print. I therefore need the ability to produce more stories, so I use the space gained when we expanded to the 4th floor to finally hire some more typesetters and assemblers. This week we also come across our first lawsuit. Since I don't have any lawyers, we end up having to pay out $250. The low payout amount means I don't see the need to hire any lawyers, as the salary alone would cost more than I would save. With the 3rd page, we are once again able to hit record sales, this time selling over 158,000 copies. With the influence I gained this week, I not only get the 4th telegrapher, but also the 5th, hopefully ensuring we stay on top of news for the foreseeable future. My goal now is to unlock the rest of the bonus equipment for reporting, so I select the district of Port Newark focus on, as that's in the direction of the Ritz Theatre, the entertainment bonus building. We unlock the Ritz Theatre at the end of the week, and I now see that I'm only one district away from the rich and powerful faction, the last yet to be unlocked, and the Harrison Public Library, which will unlock text editing. So with this information, I select the Newark district next. After the breaking news story of last week boosted our sales, I earned enough money to finally build the 5th floor of the newspaper, which I used to consolidate the telegraphers on the same floor together, as previously they had been all over the building wherever I could fit them. As well as this, I'm able to use the extra space to hire 3 more reporters, bringing our total up to 8. One of the reporters we hire this week, Robert Davis, has the natural coordinator ability. Each worker has both a natural ability, which so far has been mostly blank or not impactful, and a trained skill, which I haven't unlocked yet. The coordinator ability allows a reporter to immediately unlock the next story file in a story, so I can send a reporter to it, allowing multiple reporters to work on the same story at the same time. This massively helps as it increases the number of reporters I can send out and allows more reporting to be done earlier in the week, freeing up the telegraphers, but also allowing the production side of the story to start work sooner. In the late game, my strategy completely revolves around the use of these abilities. At the end of the week, I decide to try to unlock St. Elizabeth's College by selecting the Springfield district, so I can train my employees. I don't realize, however, how expensive this is, and so I won't train any employees through this method until near the end of the game. It is now the end of the first year after the tutorial, and so we unlock the loyalty mechanic. Previously, every subscriber who we satisfied by printing the correct tags automatically became loyal. Now, however, we have to earn their loyalty by being the correct alignment. Our newspaper can either be sensationalist or informational, depending on the stories we print on the front page and above the fold. When we satisfy a subscriber through printing the correct tags, whatever alignment the newspaper was that week will be where the subscriber is placed for the next week. If our newspaper is then the same or similar in alignment the following weeks, we will gain their loyalty. If, however, our newspaper is in opposing alignment, we will lose them and have to go back to the original district and reprint the tags they want. There are also various bonuses for being a certain alignment each week. We also hire an editor this week. Sometimes, story files have negative tags such as lies or propaganda, which will drive away readership. We can edit the story file, which takes some time, but will eliminate the negative tags. Some missions from factions, however, require that these tags are printed, so we can choose not to edit them away as well. At the end of the week, I select the West New York district to head towards the town hall to gain the politics reporting bonuses and the paper plant, so I can automate the purchasing of paper. The following week is uneventful, but at the end of the week I continue with my goal of heading towards the paper plant by selecting the Hackensack district. I also spend some influence on finally unlocking the sales desk to add advertising to my newspaper. Advertising works like any story file, in that first the salesperson has to create the advert, and then the advert has to be typeset and assembled. The advert then takes the place of a story in the newspaper. You can still achieve matches with adverts as each advert has a category. What adverts you are offered depend on what you printed the previous week. For every 4 stories you print in each category, you gain an advert the next week for a maximum of 2 adverts per category. Most adverts are worth more money than any single story, as an advert typically pays $1,000, but they can pay more. And to make the equivalent in sales, you would need a story that causes you to sell an additional 25,000 newspapers on the standard price, or a story with 2 gold tags and a silver tag. Personally, I'm terrible at remembering to have the salesperson work on ads, however, so I certainly don't use this to my full benefit until later in the game. I unlock the paper mill and the graphic workshop at the end of the week. I want to start working my way down to Coney Island to unlock bonuses for my support staff, especially my resupplier, as they've been unable to keep up with supplying the printer, causing me to pay emergency printing costs each week. So I select the flat brush district at the end of the week. The week is uneventful. However, at the end, I learned that Edna Fisher, my resupplier, has leveled up to level 5, unlocking the prestige mechanic for her. Any employee that reaches level 5 in any skill unlocks prestige, giving them a bonus to their work speed that depends on the level of prestige where they are working, similar to how comfort works, but a bonus instead of a malus. Prestige also works as a buffer over condition, so any condition loss that occurs first has to deplete the prestige layer. To continue heading to Coney Island, I select the Gravesend district, and at the end of the week, I unlock it. I decide to head to the elevator factory by selecting the College Point district. The elevator factory, as you can probably guess, unlocks elevators. I do this as I now have enough money to buy another floor, and I want to be able to start using elevators over stairs as they move people faster. I will wait to remodel the building completely until I have some more money to buy another floor for more space. At the end of the week, I want to unlock the police station to get the crime reporting bonuses and to get protection from the mafia and protest negative events that occur on some story files, so I select the Jamaica district next. The following week, I unlock the police station and hire some security for my building, and I have enough money to build another floor, so I decide to remodel. On the top floor, as always, is my printer, out of the way. The floor below that holds the telegraphers, as they don't need to have access to the rest of the building, and so can also be out of the way. I move the reporters below that, as they don't necessarily need to be at their desks, as when they report, they are out of the building. I then move the typesetters and the assemblers up, as I believe going to the second floor will not unduly increase how long it takes for reporters to turn around. I move my utilities to the bottom floor as I have run into power issues and need to place a generator, which consumes coal and is another task for my resupplier. I still have some space on the 4th floor, so I select the Hillside Park district as it leads towards the Photo Academy, where I can unlock the photography production chain. At the end of the week, I do unlock photography and the production chain of the darkroom, repro camera, and chemical engraver. Once all these tasks have been done, the photo also needs to be assembled. The repro camera and chemical engraver are also needed for illustrations and cartography, which I unlock later. A photo is worth a gold tag on a story, while a map or illustration is only worth a silver tag. The new photography equipment is put to good use as well, as we sell a record 233,000 papers this week. I have unlocked most buildings now, but my next goal is to reach the farm, so I can automate food deliveries like I have done for coal and paper previously. I therefore decide to select the New Dorp Beach district as it leads in that direction. The week after, I select the Charleston district for the same reason. At the end of this week, I unlock the farm, but I also hit 50,000 loyal subscribers, almost a quarter of the way to the end goal. By looking around the map, I've come across the Rush button that can be unlocked at the Caldwell factory. I don't know what it does, so I head in that direction by selecting the Bloomfield district. I finally have enough influence to unlock the 4th page module and enough money to buy a new floor, so I have space to install it. I have been having lots of trouble keeping the printer stocked with paper and have been paying lots of emergency printing fees, so I decide the best course of action is to move the printer to the 2nd floor, so my resuppliers don't have to travel as far to deliver paper. To ensure the reporters can still quickly deliver stories to the typesetters, I also install an elevator on the ground floor leading to the rest of the building. To summarize the remodel, on the 1st floor are my utility employees, such as my resupplier and my security, ensuring that any mafia first have to get past them, along with my generator that powers the building. On the 2nd floor, with stair access to the 1st, is my printer. On the 3rd and 4th floors, with elevator access to the 1st, is my typesetters and assemblers, as I noticed it was taking a while to deliver the typeset stories to the assemblers. On the 5th floor is my photography production chain, my editor and some toilets, with elevator access to the 1st floor for the photographer and reporters, and stair access to the 4th floor so that they can access assemblers and typesetters easily. On the 6th and 7th floor are my reporters who have stair access to the 5th floor. Also on the 7th floor are my photographers, and I have hired a second as the first was sometimes busy when I needed him. Finally, on the 8th floor are my telegraphers, and the salesperson, as she has an ability that makes her work faster the higher her workplace is. As more employees are starting to get closer to level 5 and thus starting to benefit from prestige, I'm also starting to exchange decorations, such as lights, for versions that give a prestige bonus, to increase the overall level of prestige in the entire building. Near the end of the week, I also learn what the Rush button does. On Sunday, when time is unpaused, you can hold down the button to supercharge a production employee's work speed. This, however, comes at the cost of continuously draining their condition, which can lead to sloppy production. Prestige, however, can act as a buffer that has to be drained before condition can start to be. This effectively counters the downside of using the Rush button for level 5 employees. At the end of the week, I want to head to the Cartography Association, so I select the district of Linden, and I continue this the week after by selecting the Metuchen district. I'm butchering these names. The next building I want to unlock is the Lighthouse, so I select the Laurelton district next. However, the unlocks available in the buildings I have yet to unlock are not particularly useful, so there's no real reason for this direction. I instead spend some influence on unlocking the final telegrapher, so I have the greatest choice on which stories I want to focus reporting on. I also hire my 9th and 10th reporters to ensure that I have a sufficient amount of reporters to deal with all the stories. While I'm not using St. Elizabeth's College to train employees, I decide the best direction to go is in St. Paul's School, as that is one of the only 2 buildings I have yet to unlock, and the only really useful one. So I select the Hempstead district next. This week I realized that while the elevator has slowed down my reporters from delivering their stories to typesetters, it does have a hidden benefit, as my security was in the toilet and not downstairs when some mafia came to visit. Those mafia couldn't destroy anything, as they were stuck waiting for the elevator. At the end of the week we sold a record 331 1,000 newspapers, partly due to some of my employees having skills I trained on them, resulting in quality stars appearing on my stories. While I haven't been training through the schools as it's very expensive, I have been earning some traits as a bonus through the newspaper's alignment. There are 3 tiers of traits you can train: bronze, silver, and gold, and this affects how long it takes for an employee to learn the trait. Bronze traits take 3 days, silver traits take 5 days, and gold traits take 7 days, meaning you won't have that employee for an entire week. Some of these traits, such as Gumshoe, provide a quality star to the story file if the story contains, for example, an investigative silver tag. A story, not story file, can have a maximum of 3 quality stars, and each star provides an extra 1,000 readers, so the 3 stars are slightly better than 1 bronze tag. This makes them nice to have, but not really necessary. The final building I have yet to get is the station, so I select the district of Upper Manhattan as it leads in that direction. I also buy another floor this week and unlock both illustration and cartography. I moved the telegraphers up to the 9th floor and use the 8th for my new cartographer and illustrator. I already have the production chain for both set up, as they only need the repro camera and the chemical engraver that the photographers also use. I also finally unlock the lawyer and hire one for the 8th floor as well, as the lawsuits have finally become more expensive to pay out every time. I select the district of Riverdale next, as it will unlock the final building I don't have yet, and at the end of the week I unlock the station. With every building unlocked, it's now time to start focusing on increasing our subscriber count and our influence. So I head back to the district of Astoria, as I've almost completed it, and thus it will be very easy to get the influence for completing it. The same logic applies when I select the districts of New Dorp Beach, Gravesend, and Laurelton. I spend the influence I earn during this time on unlocking the Art Deco wallpaper, which is very expensive but boosts the prestige of every room that has it, and on unlocking the bonuses to cartography, photography, and illustration. I now have enough money to buy the 10th floor, and so since I've been having trouble with reporters being stuck waiting for the elevator so they can deliver their stories to the typesetters, I decide to move the production equipment down to the 1st and 2nd floor. To achieve this, I need to move the printer out of the way, so I move it to the 9th floor. The telegraphers and salesperson can be moved to the 10th floor, and the utility can be moved to the 4th floor. I move the editor and the toilets up to the 5th floor, and the reporters stay where they are. I also hired a secondary supplier to try and deal with the inevitable increase in workload from the printer being so high up. I then continue my strategy of trying to get as much influence as possible by completing districts, so I select Long Island City. I also use some of the space I got from the previous week by hiring 2 additional reporters for a total of 12. In the following weeks, I selected East New York, Canarsie, Flatlands, and Gravesend districts, until I have enough influence that I can afford to unlock the 5th page module and add it to the printer. We can now print 15 stories or adverts every week, and I spend my remaining money on unlocking bonuses to the repairman's work speed from Coney Island. I continue to gain subscribers by selecting the Cambria Heights, Bayside, Jamaica, Upper Manhattan, Charleston, and Mid-Island districts until suddenly we hit 100,000 loyal subscribers, almost halfway to our final goal. The same week we hit that goal, the breaking news of Bonnie and Clyde's final act also pushes us over 400,000 newspapers sold for the first time, with us selling 450,000 copies. I now have enough money to be able to afford purchasing traits from schools to train our employees. Bronze traits cost $2,500, silver traits cost $5,000, and gold traits cost a whopping $10,000, so you can see why I haven't done this previously. The main skills I am looking for are Coordinator, Timekeeper, and Skillful. I've mentioned Coordinator already. It unlocks the next story file when the reporter is being used. Timekeeper cuts down the reporting time for all other reporters working on the same story as them, and Skillful adds a quality star for each maxed skill you have minus bonuses, essentially adding up to 3 quality stars if someone has maxed out their reporting skill. I also unlocked the Stock Index desk. Each category of news has its own desk. For economics, this is the Stock Index desk. and these desks create their own news that a reporter doesn't have to leave the building or tie up a telegrapher for. The stock index desk creates a stock index each month with an economy tag and a statistics tag. I'm now trying to save enough influence to get the 6th and final page, but the unlock costs a whopping 128 influence, so it will take some time. I have also completed every mission from every faction, so I can no longer easily gain influence from them. With this in mind, in the following weeks, I select the Long Beach, Hoboken, Woodmere, Garden City, Glen Cove, Great Neck, Oyster Bay, Hicksville, Pelham, Bronx Zoo, and Mount Vernon districts until I finally have enough influence to buy the aforementioned page. With this, the printer no longer fits on one floor. Coincidentally, the building is also consuming so much power that I need a second generator. So I decide to consolidate the printer and the generators on 2 floors, as both are very unpleasant to be around. I have also been buying floors whenever I can, so now we're up to 12 floors and I have plenty of space. My strategy for keeping things moving, therefore, has been to install 2 different elevators. The quote-unquote service elevator, specifically for resupply people, that should see limited use and is connected to the printer floor, the generator floor, the ground floor, and the telegrapher floor, as these are all floors that require resources from the outside to function. The other elevator is mainly for reporters and the like to get to typesetters or the editor quickly. However, they can still use the stairs for this if necessary. To summarize this last remodel, the top of the tower is still the telegraphers and the sales portion, below them is some utility, and below that is the generator and printers. Then we come across our reporters, and below them sits the photo and illustration production chain. Finally, at the bottom of the tower are my typesetters and assemblers. Throughout the entire tower are facilities to tend to employees, such as bathrooms and popcorn machines to feed them. The entire tower is also decked out in prestige-giving items, since most of my workforce is now level 5, gaining benefits from this. With our building remodeled, we now consistently finish reporting news by Thursday, and have finished producing it all by the start of Sunday. We rarely need to use the brush button anymore to finish producing everything, and we are now ready to focus solely on gaining the loyalty of every last potential subscriber. I therefore complete the districts of Riverdale, Piscataway, New Brunswick, Metuchen, and Carternet. The final page, combined with the breaking news of a hurricane hitting Florida, allows us to break the 500,000 newspapers sold barrier, as when we complete the district of Carteret, we sell 511,500 copies, an absolutely astounding number. The only thing left for us to do is to continue to complete districts, so I select the districts of Linden, Plainfield, and Livingston, leading us to once again break record sales numbers, this time selling 525,500 copies of the newspaper in December 1935. 1935 is also the last year of the game. While we will continue into endless mode, the newspaper stories will no longer be stories that happened in real life, but instead generic stories. We can also see that over the lifetime of the paper, we sold over 21 million copies of the newspaper and earned over $1.1 million. Our 19 reporters cover 2 photographers, 2 illustrators, 1 cartographer, and 14 reporters. Our 12 normal reporters and our 2 reporters manning our stock index desk and our horoscope desk. We now continue into endless mode, where I finish the game off by selecting the districts of Patterson, Lyndhurst, Garfield, Hackensack, Fort Lee, and Bergenfield. We gain the attention of everyone in August, but it takes us until the end of October before they are all loyal. In the end, we sold over 25 million copies overall, had record sales numbers of 538,500 newspapers in a single week, and made all 224,000 people in New York loyal subscribers of our newspaper. That was 100% of News Tower. The game is still in early access, so I have no doubt that the challenge will continue to grow in the future. I hope you all enjoyed watching, and if you have, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel, as I played the entire journey live here on YouTube. I'm sure I'll see you all in my chat soon. Goodbye.